Hi guys, I wanted to make a little bit of a shorter video for the people who want to rather just skim through this. So yeah, once again, this is a video, um, basically part two to College Work Android Studio tutorial. So this is part two. This is to help with the second assignment. Um, so yeah, okay, let's see now what's happening here. Yeah, good. Okay, cool. All right, so basically, part one you're going to want to go through because you want to create, you're not doing all the steps in GitHub setup as in part one, but you're going to be creating a repo similar, um, and you're going to be cloning that repo to your local and creating a project in that repo. So that's what you can go to part one, the video and these sections of this document to get instructions on how to do that. Of course, you're going to want to follow most of these instructions in this. Um, this section you actually can skip because we are doing something slightly differently today. Now, part two, first thing I want to do is fix a glitch. So that's about going to this file and changing the 16 to a 15 and then doing that. So you need to make sure to do that. Otherwise, you'll get an error for some reason now when you try to run your project. Next thing is we're going to be looking at second screens and arrays and loops. And we're also going to be looking at writing tests and GitHub Actions finally. There okay, cool. Now, also for the assignment, we're not going to do what the assignment says. We're going to do something similar. So we're going to create a weekly dog feeding report where we enter the amount we fed our dog for each day of a week, and then at the end it gives us a report in a second screen about that. Um, Cool. So that will give us all the skills we need for doing assessment part two. Okay, cool. So I basically went through this. Sorry, I meant to say I did it already. So if we look at the history here, let's have a look. So we getting started and glitch fix. This glitch is as I told you. And first thing was creating a second screen. So creating a second screen is basically you go here, you go file, go new. What's happening here? Okay, there's some options missing here. Let's see what's going on. Still options missing. Maybe I need to go to a different file. Okay, so then you go activity and then empty views activity. Um, and anyway, so we went through that process. If you want a deeper dive on how to do that, just go to video one, go to the long version of this video. And we basically generated a new processing file and um, a new processing file, this one called report, and a new layout file for this second screen. And this second screen is just called report. Um, so then what we did, so that's these two files here. It also adds something here, I see. Okay, um, so we created our second screen. Then we added logic and layout to our first screen. So we made this layout, a title saying how much did you feed your dog this week, um, a, a text input which we are giving an ID, day text view, and we're adding some default content here, but this will be automatically populated. Um, then text field input here, a blank text field here, and a button. Um, and then In our logic for that screen, we're basically saying, okay, here's our questions. We're going to generate our questions with this array. So the question is going to be, how much should you feed your dog on Monday? How much should you feed your dog on Tuesday? So this is essentially the questions. This is the answers that the user gives, which start as just zero. And then every time we ask a question, we're going to increment this number, and that's going to help us know what to show when they click the next button. Okay, so then we're going to grab all the layout inputs and outputs that we need to deal with. We're going to set the question to say Entograms food for day um, zero, day is zero, which is going to automatically populate us with Monday. So it's going to say Entograms food for Monday. Then um, once they click next, it's going to look, okay, have they put in a number? If they have put in a number before they click next, or if they haven't, it's going to give an error to that error output and say, please enter a number. If they have entered a number, it's going to make sure, first of all, that that error message is now blank in case they first put an error and then now they don't have an error, it's going to first make it blank. So there's no visible error. Then it's going to assign the answer number for whatever question they're on. It's going to assign the answer. Whatever value they put in, it's going to assign the answer for that position in the array. Grams is our answers. So if we're on answer 0, it's going to add our value, which is gotten from here to there. And it's going to go through this step until it's on for all the steps that are less than 7, until it gets to step 7, and then it's going to basically take us to our next screen using this. Now this second screen, this is logic needed for going to second screen. This can be seen in the module manual. So you can see here that second screen and loops can be found in the module manual unit 4. Um, um, yeah, but if they're not on the last step, then it's just going to say, okay, cool, that's good. Now you've complete that step. We've taken your answer, thank you. Now it's going to ask the next question and set your answer to null to begin with, so you can put in your own answer for that next question. Okay, cool. So then once you're done, it's going to take you to the next page and pass the um, well, actually, we actually don't need to pass this, as we later see. Um, we pass the answers and then take to the second screen. The second screen has a title that just says dog feeding report, and then this thing that automatically shows the basically one sentence report. Here's the logic for that report. Here's the logic for that report. It's basically just going to take the output, get a handle of the output. Also, this is going to get the information that was passed using the intent. So the first screen, this is the information the first screen passed to the second screen, which is the grams or the answers. And then we're going to create a total, make sure that our grams isn't null. Going to go through each day of our total of our answers, add that to the total, and then it's going to say, give us a report sentence saying total is X number of grams fed this week. So we're using a loop. In the other page, we use an array, and obviously we're using a second screen. What is this? Okay, then we're going to add tests. Our tests were a bit complicated. It was quite tricky to figure it out. it's quite hard to also explain what's going on in the tests. Let me give it an attempt to explain the tests quickly. So these are steps to create our blank tests, but actually they don't actually create tests like what we need. But anyway, it'll create the files. Then you can um, um, create, this gives like a demo example of your test. So you can paste this in and then your test you can write in here. Um, and then here's an example of a test where it grabs some of the things and asserts that things are equal. It asserts values or it asserts answers or results. But yeah, it's still a bit complicated, but yeah, you can go check out the video if you want to try and understand a bit more. I didn't explain it super well, but I did my best. GitHub Actions is pretty straightforward, but it doesn't really do much. And then GitHub Actions, you can test them in here. So you can go to Actions, and yeah, they automatically run each time I think you commit and push. So yeah, um, it's basically just about second screens and um, creating arrays and using loops. And that's basically a big part of this assignment. Um, so good luck and thanks for watching.